My name is Jenna Gibbs. I'm a prenatal yoga instructor in the Iowa City area. I asked you guys on Facebook on the Iowa City Moms group what sort of prenatal and postnatal yoga you want. And some of you said that your shoulders, neck, and back were getting super stiff. So we're going to do one focus on the shoulders and neck and back. By the way, this is wonderful for prenatal because we're carrying a lot of weight on the front of us. But this is a great practice for those of you if you have babies and you are nursing and holding them a lot. It's going to help open that up. So today I do have a strap and a pillow to sit on. The strap, if you don't have a yoga strap, it's no big deal. You can use like a towel or a belt that you have at home. So I'm grabbing one sip of my coffee. Let's start seated. If you have a pillow to sit on, it'll be great because we will be seated for a little while. Some of these stretches you can even do with baby in front of you. Okay, so you can be cross-legged or sitting on your heels. Starting our class with one hand on our heart, one hand on our belly, noticing the shallowness or deepness of our breath in this moment. Let's all take a deep breath in through the nose, fill up. It may be a big chest breath, and that's okay. And then sigh out the mouth. Let it go. Wonderful. Go ahead and drop those arms, and we start with our side bends. So we're starting kind of the same way that we did last time, going nice and slow, dropping one hand over, one hand up, except we're going to change this to be a little bit more shoulder focused. So as you come over, you're going to come into that side bend. Then you're going to try to cactus the arm and look under the armpit and then back to your side bend. And then we'll switch. Okay? So it's a side bend as far as you can go. Cactus your arm. Look out up to the sky. Come back to that side bend on that same side and then switch. Okay? Now I want you to flow this with your own breath. We're going to work here for about 45, 50 seconds. If you already feel tightness in your shoulders, that's okay. I'm making you really open up your shoulders in this position. So just be gentle. My kids are 4 and 7 years old now, but I tell you what, I remember when they were babies, just how destroyed my shoulders and my posture felt during those long days doing a lot of heavy lifting. Good. Wherever you are, finish out your side bends and meet me back at center. Good. And we start by also releasing that neck tension. Okay. So I'll reach our right arm out. We're going to take our right thumb down and we'll take our right hand behind our lower back, almost like we're trying to take it across and put it in our left pocket. So that will really drop your right shoulder quite a lot. Now you can stay there. If you'd like, you could also try to wiggle your right hand more upward between your shoulder blades. That will really drop that right deltoid. Good. If that's a vigorous stretch, let's say you've been doing a lot of nursing or holding a baby, you're going to want to stay with that deltoid down and just let it stretch. Okay. Or we can rest our left hand on our left knee and we can drop our left ear towards our left shoulder. So we're stretching the deltoid, but now we're also starting to get into the trapezius and the scalenes of our neck. and come back to center. Good. So whether or not you had your hand in your pocket or not, release that deltoid stretch. And now we'll switch sides. So we stick our left hand way out to the side. We turn our left thumb down. Reach your hand behind you like you're trying to wiggle it in the back pocket. Notice how that feels on the top of the shoulder. If it's not enough, you can keep your palm facing back behind you and wiggle the back of your hand up between your shoulder blades. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like right here. Right hand will place on your right knee, and then we'll drop right ear to shoulder. Don't forget to breathe, especially if you've got tightness. The breath is actually the secret sauce to opening up. Good. Coming back to center, and you can release that deltoid stretch. Wonderful. So this is where it's going to be useful if you have that band. We're going to stretch our chest with the band. So I always say I like to kind of have a YMCA, you know the song. And I go back and I find my chest stretch. And this is just a great place to pause. You do want tension on the band or belt. So you kind of want to be pulling it apart, right? You'll feel your shoulder blade muscles turn on a little bit as you do that, and they'll keep you in a safe position while you do this stretch. Perfect, and release. So let's come into that and out of it. So inhale, we come back to that hard stretch. We find that position, we pause, and we exhale, release. Good. Good, so we're getting a little flow here. And by coming in and out of the stretch, that also sends a signal to the brain to get those muscles to relax a little bit. Good. So we're not really going up and over all the way just yet. We're stopping in what I call a doorway stretch, because you could also do this stretch in a doorway. Good. Now, if you really like that, you can stick with it. If you want to take the arms out even wider to allow you more space, you can do a full flossing of the shoulders up and over. So we go knees all the way to lower back. Okay, all while pulling that band apart. And I do encourage you to challenge yourself a little bit. If it's too easy, you walk your hands in a little bit closer together. So the distance between the hands is going to be unique to each person based on their anatomy and also just how tight they are. We've got about 2 more. Perfect. And release. Good. So your shoulders already should be feeling pretty nice and loose. We can move our pillow off to the side if we were using that at this point. And now we'll take cat-cows. Cat-cows are a wonderful flush out. If you watched the last video, cat-cows are what we do for vinyasas during prenatal. So inhaling, arching, really lifting those sitting bones, and then exhale, tucking your sitting bones and trying to find a little bit of core activation. Good. So pulling our abs in. Cat-cows are really good at counteracting a seated lifestyle because we don't really use our core. We don't really have to hug it in when we're just slouched over on a couch or a chair. So these are a great thing to do every day. After you do the next round, let's come into puppy, another great shoulder stretch. So if you're pregnant, you're going to take your knees a little bit wider. We're going to keep our hips over our knees, walk our hands out. Hands can be about as wide as the edges of the mat. And we'll lower our heart to the ground. So it's almost like we're melting the heart down. Forehead can press onto the mat. Press those hands onto the mat. Lengthen the sides of the body through the armpits. Those of you that want to take your chin to the mat in full puppy pose, you can. Press into your hands, come back onto all fours. Take a pause, sitting on your heels. Good, hands can be down. Few shoulder rolls. So after we have a baby, we really want to shoulder roll up to our ears and down and back. That's the counteracting motion that we want to do. It's a good thing to do every time you nurse, after every time you nurse baby. Just rolling back and down. Perfect. After that, let's come to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Hands are wide. Remember, in prenatal, we take our feet almost as wide as the mat, lifting our hips. If you'd like to, you can pedal one foot, pedal the other. Good. So the tailbone is going sky high. Down dog is another one where we have some slight core activation because we're trying to pull in our inner abs. And it doesn't really matter if you feel connected to them or not. You just want to see if your nervous system is still a little active there. Good. And then let's find some stillness in our downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and out. Perfect. And slowly come down to your knees. Let's step our right foot outside of our hand and we will come up to our low lunge. Okay. So if you have a lot of weight on the front and you're pregnant, you definitely want to make sure that your belly can come to the inside of your front leg. When we don't teach prenatal, I often tell people to flatten their back foot. That's good to do, but if you have a lot of weight on your front torso, you may want to keep that back foot tucked just to give you some additional support. Good. Press your hands into your leg and try to lift your chest. Allow the hips to sink forward. Just enjoy the slow lunge stretch. Good. And then we'll come more upright, okay, on our leg. So for this one, our left arm is going to be our working arm. We take our thumb, we point it up to the sky. Once it gets all the way overhead, we rotate the hand and down. So what I would like you to do is try to keep facing forward in your lunge and only articulate the backward arm circle from your shoulder, using the little muscles of your shoulder. We've got about 5 huge shoulder circles. Good. And we can sink the hips back to that relaxing lunge. Okay. So you'll notice when I did the shoulder circles, my hips were not down and synced. I actually backed out of it so that I could focus on my upper body. Before we take the other side, let's plant our hands. And you can step back into a wide knee child's pose. Or if you'd like to keep that heat in your upper body, come back into downward facing dog. Drop your head. You can pedal or stay still. And floating the knees back down to the ground. We step the right foot this time outside the right hand, keeping the back toes tucked, especially if you're pregnant. So you've got that extra stability. And we come up into our low lunge. Now you can press into your front thigh to lift your chest. Good. Now, later in pregnancy, this may be more about strength, keeping your hips hugging in, stamping down strongly through your front foot. When you're late in pregnancy, you don't want to overstretch the skin on the front of your belly. I know that sounds weird, but some of you are probably already rubbing cocoa butter or coconut oil on those stretch marks. So you may think more, if the skin's feeling overly stretched, you may think more about strength, especially through your front leg. Good, and then we'll back out of that for our arm circles, okay? So right thumb comes forward and up. Good, and then like a hand of a clock, we go back and we try to keep our chest facing forward, our abs braced, our core braced, while we take 5 circles, trying to articulate all the movement from our shoulder. After you've taken 5, return back to your relaxing low lunge. Knee is wide, so you got room for your baby. And then plant the hands down, step your feet back. This time we will take a wide knee child's pose. So sit back just one moment in a straddle. Look down at your knees. Make sure you can comfortably sit on your heels, and this will help force your hips and your heels down towards the ground. Look down in front of you. You should have a ton of space since your knees are as wide as the mat. So as we hinge at our hips here, keeping the hips low to the feet, we drop that baby between our thighs and walk our arms out nice and long, lengthening our spine and bringing our third eye down to the mat, resting here in child's. Walking your hands in. We're going to stay low in our child's, but we're going to thread our right arm straight across in front of our chest. Okay, so the right arm is straight across and we drop back down. Now we'll lower onto the right side of our face, and something I must add here, just because I remember what it was like. If you're nursing or you're pregnant, of course your chest is going to be bigger than normal. Don't worry if things are a little compressed, okay? You're just going to focus on taking your breath into the back of your right shoulder. I just want to tell you that that is normal, okay? Because you've got all that weight up front. So you might not be able to drop down as low since you've got that extra weight on the front, but don't worry. We're just coming into this shoulder stretch. And let's take it to the other side. Right hand comes forward, left arm super straight across our chest. And we lower down to the left side. And back to center. Take a breath in and a breath out. Perfect. Walking your hands in. We'll bring our knees together and then we'll slowly shift off to the right side. Okay. So with your knees slightly off to the right side, so all I've done is I've shifted my hips over. You may have to rearrange and make things a little bit wider so that your belly can hang. Okay. We're going to take our right hand behind our lower back to the floor. Left hand reaches up. Pause right here and try to sit up really tall. Gain space for you and baby. Okay. And then on the exhale, huge open, safe twist. We'll bring our left hand to the outside of the right leg, turning the heart space. During pregnancy, a lot of our twist focus is going to be on our chest. And those of you that have baby know that this chest twist is oh so important, again, for those shoulders. Good, and release out of the twist. Come back to your hero's pose, okay? So that's sitting down on flat feet, pointed feet. Resting here, squishing the calves and the feet is good for us. It helps us get fresh blood flow. And then we'll shift the hips off to the left. Good, and you can kind of bend the knees out to the side. I like to call this mermaid position. So my left hand comes behind me for a kickstand. I pause this one moment and I just try to reach my right arm super high into the sky. And now I take my big open twist, taking the palm of the right hand to the left thigh, rotating through the chest. Very good. Back to center. So if you would like to lay down in Supta Baddha Konasana or take a side lying position, you can. At this point, we'll finish with a minute of meditation. We place one hand on our heart, one hand on baby. It's really nice to focus on baby's stage of development right now, what they look like, being in tune with them. These moments of connection with our little one are fleeting. They're bittersweet. Pausing with your breath. Thinking about their little face, their tiny little hands, their beating heart.